All right, man. Lots of polarizing takes and opinions on the true market value for George Pickens. And by the way, y'all gonna have to excuse this pubescent Mount Rushmore I got over here on the side of my neck, just chilling for no reason. I don't know what that's about, but it is what it is. Probably because I 2 streams ago I told y'all I was sitting here chilling, smelling like a combination of sweat, spit up from my son, and fajitas. That was 2 nights ago. So maybe that's where this came from. Who knows? Just marinating in filth. It's usually unlike me, but man, when you got 2 kids or 3 kids, see, look, so sleep deprived right now. I don't even know how many kids I got. Let me fix this sign real quick. Maybe having y'all or me forgetting who I am over here. Let's try to keep this concise. I know that's tough for me, Mr. Long-winded in his own right over here, but I know it's combine time, right in the middle of it. But this was actually supposed to be a live show tonight, but I couldn't wait. There's too much conflicting reports, conflicting information. We just got to talk it through. All right. So the first thing I want to do, I'm gonna set the table for a second. Forget about the franchise tag, the non-exclusive franchise tag, the compensation, Pickens market value, all that stuff. Forget about that for just a couple seconds. Hopefully the audio's okay. Let me double check that real quick. Mic check, mic check, mic check. We doing all right? Everybody good? Sound off in the chat. We take attendance around here if we can. I'd like to know who's up in here. Okay. So let me set the table real quick. I got 3 different sets of clips for you guys that should give you an understanding of what is the most likely outcome, regardless of what anybody thinks about how much George Pickens is worth. What's his most likely outcome for the future? All right, here's table setter appetizer number 1 from Clayton Adams, soon to be head coach Clayton Adams, current Cowboys coordinator. Run game coordinator, run game guru, if you will. Use your own characterization as you will, as you see fit. But the reality is that Coach Brian Shottenheimer refers to him as a superstar, and we've detailed a little bit about him in the recent past and then in the not so recent past as well. We expect Clayton Adams to be getting multiple head coaching interviews by this time, well, a little bit, say a month ago, this time next year, right? That's not the right way to say that, but you guys know what I mean. Early February, late January of 2027. Okay, so here's Clayton Adams on George Pickens, in case you haven't heard this yet.
We're always trying to understand George Pickens more.
So am I.
Tell us about him, what it's like to work with him. Tell us what you can about GP behind the scenes.
He is an awesome personality. He's constantly smiling, laughing, marches to the beat of his own drum, certainly. I get accused of that sometimes as well. But for me, with players, coaches, anybody that we deal with in this business, first and foremost, I'm in this because I love football. I love football. I love sitting here talking football with you guys. Love sitting there talking football last night with a couple of guys that I saw at the combine. And so if I can identify that someone that I'm dealing with loves football the same way that I love football, then you're all right with me. George Pickens loves football.
Guys, just to be clear, there's you don't fake that. Okay? To criticize someone, to jokingly mock somebody about their personality being super smiley, super charismatic, super contagious, kind of like doing his own thing, marching to the beat of his own drum, right? You preface that with something, like you preface somebody's question about a player or a person with that. That means you have a decent relationship with that dude, right? You feel good about that dude. You guys are comfortable with each other. You're confident in your relationship with that individual. Okay? And then you follow it up with the best compliment anybody could receive from a soon-to-be, Shotty's words, not mine, superstar coach in Clayton Adams. And you say, anybody that loves football as much as I do is all right by me, and that's certainly George Pickens. The question, this is appetizer number one, the table setter. Does that sound to you like George Pickens is going anywhere fast? No. And I know that the topic at hand right now, the debate, the polarization is not, is George Pickens going to be here next year? I'm well aware. I can read a room. I understand, but I'm setting the table for you guys here to try to get you to understand that all this misinformation or the clashing, the polarization, it's irrelevant because we know the end game already. And I'm trying to do the best that I can to illustrate that creatively for you. That's always the mission here, by the way. Anybody who's new, and I realize that there's lots of you that are new. There's about 60% of you right now. My YouTube analytics tells me that are currently subscribed. So just look down real quick, make sure that you're not one of those people. Press that button. It's totally free. It's one click and you're done. And join the movement here. The soon to be 8,000, making the push to 10K, hopefully before the NFL draft, and 95,000 across all socials. I'm really excited about the direction of this platform and where we're headed. Okay, the sports below the surface truth for the true fan.
I am inevitable.
So ask yourself right there, does that sound to you like George Pickens is going anywhere? The answer is no. All right, table setter number two. Let's clear this one. I'll stop sharing that. Bang that from the tabs. Next one. Brian Shottenheimer yesterday on the Rich Eisen show on George Pickens. You guys tell me if this sounds to you like George Pickens is going anywhere fast. And this is progressively, we're kind of crescendoing towards the apex of the conversation here, okay? So just walk with me here for just a couple more minutes. Brian Schottenheimer on Pickens.
And in terms of communication, how much talk are you having with the Joneses about Pickens and what the plan is here?
Yeah, we talk every day.
Okay.
And I think, again, that's one of the things that when I took the job, we were really committed to making sure there's just constant communication. And the thing I say about GP, from the moment he got there, this guy is the best. I love this guy. I love how much fun he has playing the game. I know how much he loves football.
This guy is the best. I love this guy. I know how much he loves football. Doubling down on his superstar coach or his offensive coordinator, soon to be head coach, Clayton Adams' words. That's high praise.
And I expect George to be on our team for a long time to come.
Okay, we like that.
One more time, just
We
I'll
like
miss
hearing
that
that.
part. 'Cause I'll talk.
This guy is the best. I love this guy. I love how much fun he has playing the game. I know how much he loves football, and I expect George to be on our team for a long time to come.
Okay, we like.
I expect George Pickens to be on our team for a long time. Does that sound to you like George Pickens is going anywhere fast? No. Okay, so then what are we arguing about? What are we mad about? We don't even know what the initial offer is. And we're going to get to that in just a second. The very reason why there's so much polarization is the very reason why this is a non-exclusive franchise tag to begin with. And that's important, and I'm going to explain why that is here in just a second. So it just kind of goes to show you the Cowboys feel the same way that the general public does, apparently. All right, next data point here. Let me stop sharing this one. Bang this tab. Reshare the next screen, and I have another beautiful table setter from my guy, Boss Cowboy Sports here. And so I candidly, I went to look for Dak's quote. I read this initially in somebody's article, and there was further context that was also included in the article that I read. I can't remember whose article it was, so obviously wasn't able to pull it up for you and show you. But Boss Cowboy Sport just had a fantastic discussion with him, about an hour long worth. The original topic was George Pickens versus Max Crosby and like the potential trade. It was our trade debate on that regard, but then it sort of morphed into George Pickens' market and why we think certain things about what he will or will not be paid. And then also Puka Nakua's conversation entered that chat room as well, entered that discussion, because Boss prefaced our discussion with the alleged report from ML Football, which, take it or leave it, they're them as a source, as a credible or a valuable source. The rumor is that Puka Nakua will be signing a 4-year, $172 million extension worth $43 million APY. But that's misleading. It's very misleading, because you can't forget the 1 year that he currently has left on his rookie deal. So the extension value may be worth $43 million APY, but don't think for a second that that's what the new reset market is going to be for the receiver position and or George Pickens, because it's not. When you add in 4 years, $172 million at 43 APY, what do you get? To his current 1 year and approximately somewhere in the $4 to $6 million range left on his rookie deal for 2026. So let's just call it 5, flat, easy, even number. 4 years, $172 million, $43 million APY turns into that's the new contract extension value. Okay, but the total contract value is now what? 5 years, $177 million. 177 divided by 5 is 35.5 APY. That is the number to pay attention to. The 43 APY is the extension value. The 35.5 APY is the real life market value for Puka Nacua. Got that? Okay. Boss Cowboy Sport with the clip on Dak Prescott, the quarterback, and his thoughts on George Pickens. All right. And this is his conversation with Clarence Hill at the Pro Bowl.
Leave it to those guys. Obviously, if I need to get involved, I've said it before, I will.
A little late, but late is better than never.
Amen, boss. So that's a quick one, but the quote, he's got it right here in the bottom for you. His graphics are always good. I feel like he does a good job of keeping things, like he creates visuals for you throughout his show, and he does great work, obviously, Boss Cowboy Sports. So salute to him and credit to him for this is my source for this quote. Dak did, though, to re-reference the article that I couldn't find. I don't know who wrote it. Forget who it was. But there was a quote in there from Dak, and basically it was something along these lines, what he just said here. But then also he kind of doubled down and took it a step further and was like, by any means necessary. Whatever we have to do to get him here, make sure he's here by any means. Okay, and that to me is significant. Like this might just, you might brush this off and initially think, well, he's the quarterback. He's supposed to say those things. Dak is media trained. He's always buttoned up. He's never going to give you any information that's going to be any sort of indictment to him or one of his teammates. He's always going to kind of keep it by the book and close to the chest. But while that is true, think about players, especially really high profile players in any sport, but especially the National Football League, and especially the quarterback and an all-pro receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. Guys usually don't. They're very uncomfortable talking about another grown man's money. Right? It's accepted. It's understood. Like, yeah, I ain't, that's not my business. I'm not going to talk about it. It's not my place to talk about it. I won't talk about it. And that has happened in the past with this very individual that we're looking at right here. But ask yourself for a second, okay, with this third appetizer here, this table setter, does this information sound to you like George Pickens is going anywhere fast? The answer is no. Dak usually elects not to talk about another grown man's money, but in this case he did. Ask yourself why that is. We know why. We watched it. 1,400 yards, 1,400 reasons, and 9 touchdowns. Why? He says that. And then don't forget, this is the one I don't have a clip for you for. This is the fourth piece of information here. All right? Stop sharing that one. We'll bang that tab. I'll check my chat box here in just a second. I know better. I learned my lesson last time, remember? Steven is in here. We got Camacho the Nacho. Man, I'm doing good. I appreciate you for asking and for being in here as well, brother. Thank you. The fourth piece. All right, remember the information that we got. I believe this was from Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. During the interview process, the defensive coordinator interview process, a couple coaches walked into that building, looked Jerry, Steven, and Brian Schottenheimer, Will McClay, and company in the eyes. And it was more than just one individual, but I assume because the information came out after Christian Parker was named the defensive coordinator candidate, the hire. I'm assuming that he was one of them. And I know for a fact that he was because he had to play him twice. He had a game plan for him twice. But remember what they said.
Listen, Linda. Listen.
Okay.
Listen, Linda. Make sure Linda's locked in for this one. Hey, Jerry, Steven, Will, Shotty, y'all know how difficult y'all are to game plan when you got not one all-pro receiver out there, but two, right? You understand that, right? Surely you do. You're not going to let this dude walk, are you? Nah, we ain't letting this dude walk. Okay, so we have that piece of information. That wasn't just Christian Parker. My guess is, let's just say Durante Jones, Christian Parker, and Jim Leonard all said that to Jerry Jones because it was more than one. We know for a fact it was more than one individual that walked into that meeting room and said something along those lines. Does that sound to you like George Pickens is going anywhere fast? And I just remembered to myself, Suave D with the 10, man, I see you with the super chat, man. Thank you so much. Says, keep up the great work, Lando. You are appreciated. Well, it goes without saying that the feelings are mutual, man. And thank you. Seriously. That's awesome. So there's one more piece of information. This is data point number 5. This dates back actually about 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 2 months ago, when Mike Fisher let us know that he spoke to an individual, a source inside that building. And we now have that's verifiable, clearly, because his quote was, the football people in that building would have an aneurysm if for some reason George Pickens found his way off this roster. And if he wasn't going to be here long term, they'd have an aneurysm. That was the word that the source inside the building said about the football people for the Cowboys at the Star in Frisco would have an aneurysm if they let George Pickens go somehow, some way. If they disrespected him, if they didn't do right by him, if he wasn't here, if he wasn't happy, if they weren't aggressive with getting his money solved so that they don't have to be in this situation again, just like they were with Micah Parsons last year. Change the way you do business. How many times have we talked about how different they are operating? How many times have we proved that to you? We, as in like this platform, this community, these people like Suave, like Andy, like Camacho the Nacho, like Steven, and so many more, Sadiqa, Salam, everybody. Like, I don't know what more evidence you need, guys. What more evidence does the community need? Why are we arguing about things that we're crying over? Not spilt milk. We're crying over milk that's still got 2 weeks left before it expires. We just bought it from HEB yesterday. It's sitting in our fridge. Why are we mad? What's the problem? PTSD? Okay, that's fair. But even the PTSD folks are forgetting the evidence that we have since the PTSD, the problem that led to the PTSD occurred. Come on now. Come on now, man. What are we talking about? We're mad because we think the Cowboys are going to lowball George Pickens with a $30 million offer, which is technically right now his fair market value. Because why? Business. My dog's freaking out because I banged on the table. Hold on, give me 3 seconds. It is different, man. And anybody with an objective outlook on the situation knows it. That's why my platform is what it is. It's dedicated to the difference. And everything that's been happening since Brian Shottenheimer showed up. Think about it one more time, y'all. We're going to get to the George Pickens conversation, and we're going to stick to that. But this just to show you, most people, very highly credentialed and respected people in Cowboys media, are saying, "Yeah, it's different because look at the way they went about the defensive coordinator hire." No. Stop. Rewind. Back up. Reverse, Terry. Reverse it. Just leave it in reverse for 10 minutes. And let that thing keep going, because you've missed it. If you think that that's where the difference begins, and you've missed it. You're not subscribed here. Looks like my daughter's trying to get in my room. I think she can't figure out how to do it. You ready to play? Just woke up from her nap. Okay, well, it's all right. It'll buff out, as they say. If they weren't gonna be aggressive, they would have stopped when they had the leftover ammunition from the Micah Parsons trade before they went out and got Quinnen Williams and doubled down on the aggression. And even that wasn't where the difference in their team building approach relative to their recent historical norm. That's not where it began either. It predates that. It goes all the way back to February of 2025, excuse me, when Brian Schottenheimer, his first month on the job. And we've tracked it ever since then. The master list is on my page here. You guys can go and check that out if you still have any doubt, which you shouldn't. Shotty's master list is proven power within this organization. It didn't begin with the Christian Parker search. That's not where this began. All right. So now, the non-exclusive franchise tag. This, in my opinion, is exactly why people are polarized right now, because this is a unique situation. It's a very unique situation. Because yes, inflation has happened since CeeDee Lamb signed his extension. Yes, George Pickens is a top 10 at the very minimum player. And yes, he should be compensated accordingly. But you know what? And by the way, that inflation number does really start at right around $40 million APY. It really does. I agree with that. But you know what you're forgetting if you think that that's where where the number begins, or if you're mad about it being anything less than that, which I still don't understand. He's going to be on the team. It doesn't really matter what he makes, because we know that the ever-ballooning salary cap is going to continue to increase. The ever-increasing value of the NFL dollar is going to continue to increase. And that new TV money is coming. So all of this is really irrelevant unless somehow, some way, George Pickens gets up out of here, which he ain't. All right, but that where people, we can end the conversation right here. Okay. Let me pull up this tweet. A fantastic question from my guy, Alex Gent. 3. Fantastic question. The best rebuttal that anybody could possibly ask, I would say. Let me share my screen with y'all so y'all can see this, and then I got to go get my daughter. She's ready to play. If y'all can hear that, that's hilariously cute. I'm coming, baby. Give me a couple minutes, okay? Almost done. I'll go get her here in a second. My wife is clearly preoccupied with at least one of the other two. So the live stream at this minute. Maybe not the best timing. That's all right. Hopefully you guys get the point. Okay. From Alex Gent. Let's get to it. So I had the George Pickens non-exclusive tag is the Cowboys' way of evaluating fair market value. It's actually in the best interest of the player and doing right by him per se without holding him hostage. Still going to be a Dallas Cowboy long term. Hang loose. He says, wouldn't the only way to really evaluate his fair market value for him to be a free agent? Oh, okay, sorry. Wouldn't the only way to really evaluate his fair market value be for him to be a free agent? That's what he meant to say. And that's a fair question, right? But then he goes on to say, teams knowing that Dallas can match offers, otherwise they have to pay top market and compensate. Dallas doesn't really seem like fair market value evaluation. So then my response was, this is actually a great argument and about as good as there is, in my opinion. But the way I'm looking at it is this. And this is really, really important here, guys. Okay. Let me first show y'all or just reiterate to you what the non-exclusive franchise tag terminology states based on just the NFL, like the NFL operations website. Okay. A player who receives the non-exclusive franchise tag is free to negotiate with other teams. The player receives a 1-year deal with the salary set at the greater of A, the cap percentage average for his position, or B, 120% of his prior year salary. So it's usually B, right? So this year, the non-exclusive franchise tag value is the same. Okay. It falls in the same category. It's $28 million minimum. Or on the dot. It's not minimum. It's just that's what it is. Year number 2, it's 120% of that 28 million, which would be about 34 million. Add those 2 years up, divide it by 2, and you get just under 31. That's where that number came from. That's why people like Mike Fisher are saying that's George Pickens' market value, because fair or not, regardless of what you think about, like say, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are equal caliber players, same talent in a vacuum, right? They're the same. CeeDee got paid in 2024, 34 APY, which we know here APY is really not the important number to talk about anyway. So we're still kind of missing the full context of this stuff. It's why I can't stand how people are so frustrated about this right now. It's too early to be mad about the money. But 34 APY in 2024, when the cap was 255 million, if you prorate the inflation relative to the current 305 projection for the salary cap this year, then that 34 million APY, whatever percent that was of the 255, it's this. If you equate the same percentage and allocate that to the growth of the new cap at 305, then that puts you at $40 million. Yeah, but the reason why that can't be the way that you do it is because, like it or not, the Cowboys have the business-related leverage in their back pocket. 28 this year, 34 next year. That's an average of $31 million over the next 2 years. That is your value. That's where the conversation begins, George Pickens. But why I think that this can and should be looked at in favor of the player is because the player now gets to go and see what he's actually worth. He gets to talk to other teams. The Cowboys have the ability to match if they so choose. And if they don't, then they're compensated. This is the quote on NFLoperations.com. Okay. The player's original team, in this case, the Cowboys, shall be entitled to draft choice compensation equivalent to 2 first-round draft picks. Y'all can see that right here. This bottom little paragraph right here, the last sentence. If they don't want to match. And so the initial counter argument is going to be, well, who's going to pay George Pickens $40 million and 2 first-round draft picks? Let me explain. Okay? You may think that sounds impossible. But think about it. Right? And this is my rebuttal. This is why it's the best question. This is why everything, in my opinion, it stops right here. Okay? If George Pickens is truly worth $40 million, please, guys, seriously, somebody talk to me. If I'm missing something here, please let me know. and we'll fail forward together. If he's truly worth $40 million, this is the Cowboys argument, right? Okay, go and prove that to us. David Mulligetta, we're giving you the ability, we're affording you the right to show us. I need to make a note because I have one more point that I want to make at the end of this. I'll put it in the chat. Hold on one second. Jake Hunter's here. I see you, man. What's up, brother? Cowboys are too low at $28 million, and George Pickens and David Mulligetta are too high at 40. Okay, we're going to refer to that in just a second. But the point is, Johnny Blue, I see you, man. What's up? Yeah, the playback is always an available option for you, man. No worries at all. I know you guys are busy. I know it's right in the middle of the combine. I alluded to that at the beginning. I was like, man, I get it. There's people that are interested in other things right now, but I had to get this off my chest. Just something that we have to talk about. So, if he's truly worth $40 million, then the 2 first-round picks, which, by the way, would be 27 and 28, not 26, not this year. Okay, it's kind of like a comp pick. It's the following year after you lose a player. It ain't this year. So you may ask once again, why would a team pay $40 million and 2 first-round draft picks to acquire George Pickens? The answer is because you are a contender already. Like, let's whisper this one. The Buffalo Bills. Perfect example. A team that's like literally a difference-making receiver away from truly being a threat for Super Bowl contention. If you're a Super Bowl contending team, which is the team that would be giving this offer sheet and potentially losing 2 first-round draft picks in the process. Why would they do that? Because it doesn't matter. The first-round pick is irrelevant to you. In a future one means nothing if you think you're one receiver away to go win a Super Bowl. And by the way, one of those ones is in 2028. That might as well be 3 years away. Which it is in terms of in draft terminology, it is 26, 27, 28. That's 3 cycles away. Right here. This was the whole point about going and getting Quinnen Williams. You save yourself the project, the guesswork, the development or the potential bust, which is a 50% rate in round 1 anyway. 50-50 chance. The numbers say that one of the Cowboys' 2 first-round draft picks this year is going to bust. Just so y'all know. That's what the numbers say. Now, that's the percentage of the entire, like there's teams that are better at evaluating talent than others. And so, the Cowboys could hit on both of them. They could miss on both of them. But the 32 selections in round 1 this year, only about 16 of them are going to work out. All right, so just so we're clear on that. But this middle paragraph, where it starts for me, and then the second paragraph is the punchline. If he's truly worth $40 million, then those 2 first-round picks aren't of use to you anyway, right? If you're getting the guaranteed difference-making, all-pro, final piece to your Super Bowl run type of player, then you don't care about the first-round picks that are 2 years down the line when they both might bust anyway. You don't care. You want the proven product. It's the same reason why the Cowboys voided the second-round pick that y'all so, and a 1 also, but y'all so desperately tried to convince me they should have kept. The Cowboys are abiding by this same logic right here. We want the proven product because we're closer than the public thinks that we actually are. We know it. Christian Parker knows it. Why else is he here? Why did Javonte Williams take the 16th highest paid running back salary? Why is he here? Why is Brandon Aubrey so quick to defend himself about the allegations of his request for $10 million? He wants to be here. If he's truly worth $40 million, then you don't care about a 2027 first-round draft pick. You don't care about a 2028 first-round draft pick. It means nothing to you because you're getting the All-Pro right now in George Pickens, and you're also keeping this year's first-round pick. You don't have to lose it until a year down the line. The teams that are going to get this, the teams that would do this, i.e. the Buffalo Bills, or I don't know, just whoever you guys think is close that's a receiver away. Most of those teams, let's go pull up the draft order. Make sure y'all subscribe, by the way. If you haven't already, please do so. I would greatly appreciate that. Share this tab instead. 2026 NFL Draft order. Show me the order. Where's the order? Draft order. There we go. All right, let's look down. Okay, Bills own pick 26. Niners are about to lose Brandon Ayuk. Texans they just drafted 2 receivers with premium capital last year from Iowa State. Those are day two picks at receiver. They've also got Nico Collins, who was an Alpha 1. The Patriots could absolutely use George Pickens. They would absolutely love to have AJ Brown. They're going to be in that market. Trust me. All right. So let's consider the Broncos also. That's another interesting one right there. And we know how the Rams operate. They don't give a damn about their draft picks. If it makes them better now, they're in. All right. So let's say 26 through 32. Let's say 4 or 5 of those teams in that range, it might make sense for them to have George Pickens. It might make sense for them to pay George Pickens $40 million. It might make sense for them to pay George Pickens $40 million and give up 2 first-round draft picks, future ones in the process, 2027, 2028, not this year's class, right? It might make sense because nobody gives a crap what happens after you potentially go and win the Super Bowl that you think you're in contention for. Right? But here's the kicker, okay? Back to the tweet. The team that would win, or that would in theory do this, would be a team that's close to winning a Super Bowl anyway. One of those teams in the 26 to 32 range, right? Stay with me. In their minds, they're winning. They're ready, okay? So that first round pick is really just a second round graded player. What's a future second round graded player that's got a 50% chance to bust anyway? What does that matter in 2027? If you go and get a $40 million caliber receiver, why do you care? You don't. You don't. Y'all tell me right now. I shouldn't have to explain this logic, but apparently I do. I don't know. A team would rather have future capital, future bust potential capital 2 years down the line versus a $40 million player when they could go and have a chance at a legacy run. At football, like football history. There's nobody thinks that. That's not real life. The team that would in theory do this would be a team that's close to winning a Super Bowl anyway in their mind. So that first round pick is really just a second round graded player. So yes, they would do that. This gives George Pickens and David Mulugheta a real shot to prove to the Cowboys what his market actually is. A team would do this. Otherwise, why are they non-exclusive franchise tagging him? The Cowboys certainly believe that this is dangling a carrot. Right? Am I crazy? Right. Suave. Yeah, exactly. Okay, perfect. Tired ass Cowboys fan. Perfect. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you being here, and thank you for that comment right here. Listen, guys. Okay, this is what I wrote down earlier. Okay. Okay. I see what you're doing. You're helping me out. Man, I might have to make you a mod one of these days. We'll see. So, Conil, tell me if I'm guessing your first initial is K and your last name is O'Neal, but I'm gonna call you Conil if that's okay, and make sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. And forgive the assumption, please. But so he says, where does the 28 and the $40 million come from? That's great. Perfect. Great question. So 28 is the fully guaranteed franchise tag value. Non-exclusive, exclusive, doesn't matter. Okay. That's what right now George Pickens is going to play under in 2026. That's how much the Cowboys will owe him under the tag. They've already tagged him. It's done, no matter what. Let's just say hypothetically, they can't come to an agreement. That's what he'd play for. The $40 million is what the current market value says that the next receiver up to get paid. Let me pull this up too. NFL wide receiver top paid contract average rankings, and then I got to get up out of here, y'all. My kids need me. So like right here, so the highest paid APY. Once again, APY not relevant. Total guarantees is what matters most. Jamar Chase at $40 million. That's where that comes from because that's currently the market. That's what CeeDee Lamb would have got back in 2024 if he were getting extended in 2026 today because the salary cap increases, right? So that's the thing. The Cowboys' market value for George Pickens, which is just the way that the business works, there's nothing that we can do about it. It says $28 million this year, 34 next year, 31 average over the next 2 years. That is too low because we know George Pickens is better than say that would be in the range of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle. They're all making between $28 and $30 million. Terry McLaurin makes 32. Okay. So he makes more than that. Or that offer is obviously way too low because he's better than all those guys. He's younger than all those guys. Okay. But the $40 million offer is too high because he hasn't done it long enough, and he's not $6 million APY better than CeeDee Lamb. Right? So the whole purpose of this is they're going to get an offer that's going to be somebody is going to tell them what he's worth, and the Cowboys are going to match it. And it's going to be somewhere in between the $31 million that the franchise tag over the next 2 years suggests that he's worth and the $40 million that the current market value says. It's going to be right there in the middle. And we don't have to worry about anything else. The deal's going to get done, and everybody's going to be happy at the end. All right, I do have to run. I would love to sit here. I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours and hours, but just make sure you guys are subscribed so that way you don't miss the next one. And the next time I'm live, we can do it. Don't miss the next one. All right, I appreciate y'all very much. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah. All right, the prayer. Remember that prayer changes things, and the war is already won. Talk to you guys soon.